Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. This Saturday is UFC Vegas 74, Caceres of France versus Amir Albazi, and this is going to be my full card predictions. I'm going to start with the early prelims, go all the way to the main event, and give you a prediction for every single fight on the card. I usually go over my full card picks on the stream the Friday before the event, but I figured I had some extra time this week. Why not do a full card prediction video? If this is something you want to see me start doing for every single UFC event, let me know down in the comments. I usually do more detailed full fight breakdowns, but if this is something you want to see me do, I will start doing it. Just let me know down in the comments. Do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I don't want to make this video too long, so let's start off with the first fight of the night, Maxim Grishin versus Philipe Lins. Both guys, older guys in the light heavyweight division. Grisham's 39 years old. Lins is 37 years old. Grisham has a slight height advantage. Lins has a slight reach advantage. And I think this is a fight that could go either way. I think it should be a fun fight. I am going Maxim Grishin via decision. I think he has more technical striking. I think he has good kicks, very good teep kicks. I'm worried about it a little bit because in his last fight, he was getting taken down by William Knight. And we know how bad William Knight is. And he took him down multiple times, but you had Grishin, he had an ability to get back up, and then he started landing on the feet. Good kicks, good leg kicks, good body kicks. I think he's the more technical striker. I think Philipe Lins is going to come out. I think he's going to look for takedowns. I think he's going to look to use the grappling to win this fight. But I think he has faster hands, but they're just not as technical. I think he has more power, but he's just not super technical on the feet. And I just don't see him finding that kill shot. If he does win, I think he'll probably hurt him on the feet, maybe TKO him, or maybe he hurts him on the feet and then subs him. I just don't think that's going to happen. He gets very sloppy on the feet. He has a great killer instinct. If he hurts you, he will go for the kill. In his last fight, he fought Ovince St. Preux, hurt him badly on the feet, swarmed him, and finished him. The fight before that, he fought Marcin Prachnio, won via decision, got taken down himself in that fight. So I don't think he's some elite level grappler. I don't think his jiu-jitsu is so threatening that if he gets Grishin down, he's definitely going to sub him. And I think what's going to happen in this fight, you're going to have Maxim Grishin teep into the body, throwing leg kicks, having more technical striking, just busting him up on the feet. Maybe Lins gets around where he lands some good shots and then maybe gets a takedown and a little bit of control. But I think you're going to see Maxim Grishin win this fight via decision. I'm going Maxim Grishin. I'm going to say 29-28 decision win for Maxim Grishin. Moving on to the next fight on the card, Luan Lacerda versus Damon Blackshear. Both guys relatively young in the bantamweight division, 30-year-old Lacerda versus 28-year-old Blackshear. And this is a very compelling fight. I really think this should be a fun fight no matter how it goes. I am going Luan Lacerda via decision. I just think he looked very good in his UFC debut. In his UFC debut, he fought Cody Stamann. That's a great level of competition. And then you have Damon Blackshear. His last fight, he had a decent showing against Farid Basharat. But I just think Luan Lacerda, I think he's going to be more technical on the feet. It's not like he's going to be completely out of his element on the ground. And I just think he's going to land the better shots on the feet. I think he's going to move forward. And the reason I'm going with Lacerda via decision, he has no TKOs in his entire career. He has 10 wins via sub. And I think Damon Blackshear, he has decent striking. I think he's well-rounded as well. But I just don't think, what's he going to do? Take him down and control him on the ground? I don't think it's going to happen. I think you're going to see Luan Lacerda just kind of walk Damon Blackshear down, land on the feet, bust him up on the feet. And I just think Luan Lacerda is going to win this fight via decision with his striking. And even if Damon decides to try to grapple him, he tried to grapple against Farid Basharat quite a few times, got him down. I think he ended up getting reversed. I just think Damon Blackshear could end up getting subbed. I really do. I think he could end up getting subbed. But I just think you have a Lacerda who I think has fought better competition than Damon Blackshear in just one fight. And I just don't think Damon Blackshear will be able to keep up with him on the feet. I think Lacerda will just be pressing forward, landing good shots, landing good kicks. And I think he could even hurt him and sub him. But I just think Lacerda wins this fight. I'm going to go 30-27 win for Lacerda, but I think it's going to be a very competitive fight. Moving up on the card, we have Jinh Frey versus Elise Reed. Oh my god, this is one of the fights on the card I really don't care about. Jinh Frey, 38 years old, coming in on a 2-fight losing streak. Elise Reed, 30 years old, coming in on a 1-fight losing streak. Lost to Luma in her last fight, got rear naked choked. Had a competitive showing in that fight. You have Jinh Frey, who lost to Polyana Viana in her last fight, got brutally TKO'd. The fight before that, she lost to Vanessa Demopoulos. And I just think this fight is is kind of competitive. I think it could go either way. I think women's MMA, especially the low-level fights, are basically 50-50. But I'm going to go with Elise Reed. I think that Jinh Frey has the better technical striking and probably has a little bit more power. But I just think she's 38 years old. She slows down. She doesn't have a great gas tank. I think she has a grappling disadvantage in this fight. And I think Elise Reed will mix it all together. I think Jinh Frey might win the first round, but then the second round, she's going to be getting hit with big shots. She's going to be getting out grappled. She's going to get taken down, beaten up. And I just think Jinh Frey is just too old. She's 38 years old in such a small, low weight class. It just never works out. I think Elise Reed, she has a striking disadvantage, but I think as the fight goes on, I think she will have a striking advantage. And I think she may even from the jump be able to outstrike Jinh Frey just based on the threat of the takedown. But I think Jinh Frey will most likely win the first round or start to lose maybe the second half of the first round. And then I think after that, Elise Reed's going to take over with the grappling. And I also don't like the fact that Jinh Frey got brutally KO'd in her last fight. So I have to pick against her. I am going with Elise Reed via decision. Moving up on the card, we have Daniel Santos versus Johnny Munoz Jr. This is a very fun fight. Daniel Santos, for those of you who don't remember who Daniel Santos is, he's basically a mini Charles Oliveira. He's coming in off that crazy win over John Castañeda, where he got hurt like 3 or 4 times in the first round, and then in the second round came out and brutally finished him. It was an incredible performance by Daniel Santos. He likes to move forward. He likes to look for big shots. He's constantly pressing forward. And Johnny Munoz, he has decent striking, but he wants to grapple. And I don't think with the constant pressure of Daniel Santos, he's going to be able to have, success with the grappling. I just think Munoz is just an average fighter, honestly. And I just don't think he's going to be able to deal with the constant pressure of Daniel Santos. Munoz is coming in off a win over Ludovic Chalian. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. He's coming off a win there. Didn't look particularly impressive there. Lost to Tony Gravely in his last fight before that. Got brutally KO'd with an uppercut. And I just don't like Johnny Munoz's chance in this. I do worry that Daniel Santos took a lot of damage in his last fight, but he sat out for 7 months since then. He's 28 years old. He has a slight height and reach disadvantage for Daniel Santos, and he does get a little wild, and I worry about him getting chinned because Johnny Munoz has decent striking. I just don't think he gets it done. I think this is a fight that you have a very interesting matchup here. And I'm going with Daniel Santos first round KO. I think the pressure, the volume is too much. He has good BJJ. When he gets hurt and he gets on the ground, ends up on the ground like he did his last fight, he's constantly looking for sub attempts. He has good recovery. He has good cardio, great output. And I just think, he's going to get taken down in this fight. I think he'll find a way to scramble back up, and then he'll go right back on the assault, looking for pressure, looking for big shots. I'm going Daniel Santos first round brutal KO. Moving up on the card, we have Andrei Arlovski versus Don'Tale Mayes. This is a tough fight to pick. Andrei Arlovski's 44 years old, coming in off a loss against Marcos Rogerio de Lima, where he just got absolutely bodied in the first round and got rear naked choke. Don'Tale Mayes coming off a loss to Augusto Sakai, where he looked like he had zero cardio at all. I think this fight could go either way. I think Andrei Arlovski's a guy that's just been around forever, and he's kind of been fighting like these up-and-coming heavyweights that aren't really that good. Jake Collier, split decision win. Jarrett Vandera, split decision win. Carlos Philipe, decision win. Chase Sherman. So he's fighting all of like the bottom of the barrel heavyweights, and the UFC's just kind of keeping him around because he's a legend of the sport. And I think he's an okay fighter. I mean, the heavyweight division is such a low bar, and I think Don'Tale Mayes isn't a great fighter. Honestly, I could go either way on this fight. Andrei Arlovski has so many more fights, 34-21 versus 9-5 Don'Tale Mayes. But I just don't trust Arlovski's chin. And I think Don'Tale Mayes is going to look for takedowns. I think he's going to look for big shots early. I don't see Don'Tale Mayes getting finished by Andrei Arlovski. I think if Arlovski wins, it'll most likely be via decision. It'll be an ugly fight. I'm going Don'Tale Mayes first round KO. And I'm going ground and pound KO because Don'Tale Mayes doesn't have like that one punch KO power of a heavyweight, but he looks to take you down. He looks to beat you up on the ground. And I think Andrei Arlovski's chin has just had it at this point. He's been KO'd so many times. And I just don't think that he's going to be able to go out there and not get clipped in this fight. If he's able to go through the first round and win the first round, most likely he'll win the fight because Don'Tale Mayes will gas and have no output, doesn't have great striking. But I think Don'Tale May's going to look for takedowns, going to drag him to the ground, beat him up on the ground, and maybe like a full guard TKO where he's just beating him up. He's not defending himself. I think Andrei Arlovski's completely washed at this point. And I think Don'Tale May's heavy ground and pound is going to finish him via TKO in the first round. We've seen him take down Josh Parisian in his butt crack and hold him down and beat him up on the ground. That's when he did those humps in the north-south position. And I just think he'll be able to get, he's massive. He's 6'6". He has an 81-inch reach. I just think he's much bigger than Arlovski. I think he'll be stronger than Arlovski. I think he'll drag him to the ground, beat him up. First round TKO for Don'Tale May. Moving up on the card, we have Jinh Castañeda versus Muin Gafurov. This is an interesting fight. Jinh Castañeda looked good in his last fight against Daniel Santos. Hurt him badly the whole first round. Hurt him badly like 3 or 4 times. But then eventually started to slow down and eventually got brutally finished by that knee. But he took some time off. He had 7 months off. He's coming in this fight against a guy making his UFC debut coming from LFA. Muin Gafurov is going to look to grapple. He's going to look to take you down, going to look to beat you up. But if you look at his 18 wins, he only has 1 decision. So he finishes guys as well. He doesn't just take guys down and lay on them. He doesn't have the craziest ground and pound. He doesn't have the worst striking ever. Sometimes you see these grapplers who really don't have the best striking. In his last fight, he won via spinning back kick in LFA. This is a short notice fight. Gafurov's coming in on short notice. I forgot who he's replacing. And Muin has very crazy striking, so he could get caught on the feet. I think, Castañeda has good combinations, good power, good footwork, but I just think he's going to get out-grappled. I think he's going to get taken down, beaten up, and even though he has the striking advantage, I just believe that in this fight, because of the threat of the takedown, I think he's going to be too worried. He's going to get clipped up on the feet, and I am going with Gafurov via decision. I just think he's going to mix in the grappling. He's going to land on the feet. I think Castañeda could very well win this fight, but I think Gafurov is just a more well-rounded fighter, even though he's coming in on short notice. He's 27 years old. I just think he's been waiting for this opportunity. He's been fighting in LFA. He's finally getting an opportunity in the UFC. I think he's going to come in and make the most of it. I think he's going to take Castañeda down, out-grapple him, land good shots on the feet, and I am going with his second decision win of his 18 wins. So this will be his 19th win. I think this will be his second decision win. Maybe he loses the first round. I doubt it. I think he's going to use the grappling early and often, and I am going with Muin Gafurov via decision. Moving up on the card, we have Elizeu dos Santos versus Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov. I just think this is basically a grappler versus striker matchup. You have Zaleski dos Santos, who hasn't fought in a year and a half. His last fight against Benoit was that crazy fight where the ref got removed afterwards because this should have been stopped on multiple occasions. The ref should have stopped it. The doctor should have stopped it. The corner should have stopped it. And it was a great performance, and he showed a decent gas tank because he didn't completely gas, even though he went for the finish for like 5 minutes straight in the second round. But he hasn't fought in a year and a half. He has been out-grappled in the past. And we know what Nurmagomedov's going to come out and try to do. He's going to try to come out, take you down, beat you up on the ground, and look for submissions. I just don't think he has like that crazy grappling or that crazy pressure that like Khabib Nurmagomedov has, that a lot of people think of when they hear the Nurmagomedov last name. But he's coming in on a 2-fight winning streak. His last fight wasn't that great against Gadzi Omagadziev. The fight before that, he beat Jarrett Gooden. Not a great level of opposition. That was 2 years ago. He's 33 years old, but Dos Santos is 36 years old. And, he's trading wins and losses in his last few fights. He has 2 fights in the last 3 years, which is insanity. I'm going Abu Bakr via decision. I just think he's not going to be able to submit him. Zaleski dos Santos is very good on the ground, has good jiu-jitsu. But I think he's going to be looking to strike, and I just don't think he's going to have success against Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov because I think he's going to get taken down. I think he's going to pressure, look to land big shots. Maybe he'll find the KO. If he does win, I think he wins via KO. But I just think Nurmagomedov's going to drag him to the ground, control him on the ground. Nurmagomedov doesn't have the craziest output on the ground, but he's able to get guys there and start looking for the submission. I just think he's going to control him on the ground, and I have to go with Nurmagomedov via decision. He's going to use his grappling. If Zaleski dos Santos wins, probably KO, TKO. 14 of his 23 wins are via KO, TKO. And he has crazy killer instinct. If he hurts you, he will look for that kill like he showed in his last fight. But I just think Nurmagomedov's grappling is going to be too much for a guy coming in who's been very inactive. And I just think he's going to get taken down, controlling the ground. I think he'll look for some subs. He's not going to find them against Nurmagomedov. I think Nurmagomedov wins a relatively boring decision. Moving up on the card, we have Guram Kutateladze versus Jamie Mullarkey, a.k.a. Eustace from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Unfortunately, right before I recorded this video, Guram Kutateladze pulled out of the fight. I was going with Guram. It's super unfortunate that he's not fighting. He's one of the most highly skilled prospects in the lightweight division. He's not fighting. So unfortunately, it doesn't matter. And I don't know who's stepping in to fight Jamie Mullarkey yet. Moving up on the card, we have Karine Silva versus Ketlen Souza. Souza coming in. It's her UFC debut. She was an Invicta champ. I'm going Karine Silva via decision. Even though Karine Silva has won every single one of her fights via KO or sub, and she's fought way better competition, I just think Souza is going to be gritty enough. She's decent enough. She's well-rounded, even though it's kind of low level, and she's been fighting low-level competition. And I just think Karine Silva is going to be better basically everywhere. And I think she'll be able to outstrike her, out-grapple her. I think she's going to win this fight via decision. I think she'll beat her up on the feet, take her down on the ground. Maybe she'll find a finish. But I don't know. It's really hard to get a gauge on Karine Silva as well. She has one fight in the UFC. She came off Dana White's Contender Series, but she's still young. She has a height advantage. We don't know if she has a reach advantage because we don't have a reach for Ketlen Souza yet. But I think Karine Silva has shown great finishing ability, great skills, and I think she gets this fight done via decision. I think she outstrikes her, outgrapples her. She wins this fight. Moving up the card to Tim Elliott versus Victor Altamirano. This should be a very good fight. You have Tim Elliott, who's just been around forever, in and out of the UFC for like the last 10, 12 years, somewhere around there. And I just think you look at this fight against Victor Altamirano. Victor Altamirano is just so young, so inexperienced. Like, you look at Tim Elliott, 18-12-1, and you have Altamirano, who's 12-2. I thought Altamirano could have lost his last fight. He's coming in on a 2-fight win streak. His last fight was against Vinicius Salvador. I thought he could have lost this fight. He won it with his grappling. He had some good ground and pound. On the feet, he was eating big shots throughout the fight. And I just think Tim Elliott has that weird pressure style where he's looking to land on the feet, throws elbows, rips to the body. He's well-rounded. He eats a shot to land a shot. In his entire career, he's been KO'd one time, and that was a while ago. So I just think Tim Elliott, with his cardio, with his striking, with his well-roundedness, his last fight was against Tagir Ulanbekov. Looks very good. His striking looked good. His grappling looked good. He lost the third round. He got taken down and got his back taken in a scramble. But other than that, Elliott's had looked very good. Even in the past, he had a close fight for the flyweight title against Mighty Mouse Johnson. So I'm going with Tim Elliott via decision. I think Altamirano is very durable. And he took a lot of big shots in his last fight. So maybe this is the time his chin gives out, and it wasn't that long ago. It was 2 months ago he fought Vinicius Salvador. And I think you could see Tim Elliott wreck him with like an elbow in the clinch on a break or hurt him with a body shot and finish him. And you do have a Tim Elliott who's much older. He's 36 years old at 32. But I just think Tim Elliott, with his herky-jerky style and his weird style where he's pressuring you nonstop, I think Tim Elliott gets it done via decision, lands the better shots on the feet. I think he can mix in the grappling as well and take Victor Altamirano down. And I just don't think Altamirano is going to be able to get Tim Elliott down. And if he does, Tim Elliott will scramble right back to his feet. I'm going Tim Elliott via decision. Moving up on the card, Jim Miller versus Jarrett Gordon. This is a very interesting fight because both guys are kind of like one of those, just those guys that just been around for a while and kind of just well-rounded everywhere, but never really been the elite of the elite. Jim Miller wants to be the first guy to fight on UFC 100, 200, and 300. He's coming in off a loss against Alexander Hernandez. He's probably going to retire if he fights at UFC 300, would be my guess. Before his last loss against Alexander Hernandez on a 3-fight winning streak, he's 39 years old. Jarrett Gordon coming in kind of on a 2-fight losing streak, but really he should be on a 1-fight winning streak because he got brutally robbed against Paddy Pimblett. In his last fight, he got headbutted by Bobby Green and then brutally ground and pound KO'd. And that was only 3 weeks ago. It was only 3 weeks ago. I have to go Jim Miller in this fight. I just don't trust a guy coming back after a brutal KO loss in his last fight. And I think Miller's just good enough on the feet where he'll move forward, throw good shots. He has decent kicks. I don't think Jarrett Gordon's like the elite of the elite. I do think he's a little bit better striker, Jarrett Gordon is. But I just think coming back after a brutal KO loss like that, or technically it was a no contest because of the headbutt, which what it should have been. But to get Chin so badly out cold and then return a month later, who's clearing Jarrett Gordon at this point? Who is clearing him to fight? I just think that's ridiculous. And I think Jim Miller's well-rounded enough. I think he'll go out. I think he'll mix in the grappling if he can. I don't think he'll have a whole lot of success with it. I think he'll land better shots on the feet. I think he's going to clip him late first round KO for Jim Miller. I know that sounds crazy, but if you look at his last few fights, he KO'd Nicholas Mota. He KO'd Eric Gonzalez. At one point, the UFC was kind of feeding up-and-comers to Jim Miller to try to build their names off of Jim Miller. It didn't happen. He KO'd him. He sent him back. I think Jarrett Gordon is another veteran who's 34 years old, who has a reach disadvantage, a slight height advantage, but I think Jim Miller is going to expose the chin of Jarrett Gordon after coming back so shortly after being KO'd by Bobby Green in a no contest where he got headbutted. And I think Jim Miller's going to win first round KO. Moving up on the card, Alex Caceres versus Daniel Pineda. Daniel Pineda, 37 years old. Alex Caceres, 34. This is an interesting fight. Daniel Pineda is so scrappy. And in his last fight, he beat Tucker Lutz. A lot of people were counting him out against Tucker Lutz because he's old. He submits him, gets a guillotine in his last fight. The fight before that was an accidental eye poke. The fight couldn't continue. But that was 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. And then the fight before that, he got brutally finished by Cub Swanson, took a lot of damage in this fight. Alex Caceres has been around in the UFC forever. Looks like Carlito from the old WWE days. His last fight, he brutally KO'd Julian Erosa with a head kick. And it was just nasty. It was a nasty head kick. Followed him to the ground. Ground and pound shots. Finished him. It was early. It was nasty. And Alex Caceres is a tough guy to beat. He has a weird style where he kind of stays long and uses the side kicks to the body. He has good movement. And when he loses via sub. And Daniel Pineda is a guy that has good submissions. He wins primarily by submission. But I just think he's too slow. I think he's too old. I think Alex Caceres is going to come in with a good game plan. I think it'll be side kick to the body, leg kicks, mixing up the head kicks. I do wonder if Daniel Pineda is going to try to catch some kicks, get him to the ground, and then look to move for a sub. But Daniel Pineda doesn't have the best cardio. And I just think outside of that first round, catching Alex Caceres slipping in that first round, I just don't think Daniel Pineda is going to be able to get it done. I think Caceres is going to win this fight. I honestly think I'm going to go Alex Caceres second round KO. I think he's going to get the timing. I think he's going to be landing good shots in the first round against Daniel Pineda. Then I think in the second round, Daniel Pineda is going to start slowing down a little bit. He's going to have shot a few takedowns, get stuffed because of the distance management of Alex Caceres. And I think in that second round, I'm going to say late second round, I think Alex Caceres is going to hurt him with a head kick, finish him with ground and pound shots, similar to what he did to Julian Erosa. But Daniel Pineda is very gritty. And I mean, I think it could go to decision. And if it does go to decision, I think Alex Caceres wins as well. I think the only way Daniel Pineda wins this fight is maybe hurting him on the feet and then getting a submission or getting him down early and finding a submission. Because Alex Caceres, doesn't have the best jiu-jitsu, but he's a very well-rounded fighter, has great kicks, primarily a kicker. And I think he gets it done late second round KO for Alex Caceres. Moving on to the main event, we have Kai Kara-France versus Amir Albazi. This is a very interesting fight. Kai Kara-France coming off that loss to Brandon Moreno in an interim title fight. Very good fight. Very good performance for him, even in a loss, even though he got finished. He's 30 years old. Slight height and reach disadvantage for Kai Kara-France. An inch height advantage for Amir Albazi and an inch and a half reach advantage for Amir Albazi. Both guys very young, in their prime. Kai Kara-France, 30 years old. Amir Albazi, 29 years old. Amir Albazi coming in on a long winning streak, but in his last fight, he fought a UFC debutant in Alessandro Costa, and it wasn't the most impressive performance. He got the finish in the third round. It was a brutal uppercut finish. But I think had he not got that finish, he would have caught a lot more criticism. And I just think Kai Kara-France, the level of opposition he's fought. He fought Brandon Moreno, the current flyweight champion. He fought Askar Askarov in the fight before that. He fought Cody Garbrandt in the fight before that. He fought Rogerio Bontorin in the fight before that. He fought Brandon Royval, lost to Brandon Royval via submission in the fight before that. But the level of opposition Kai Kara-France has fought has just been leaps and bounds better than anyone Amir Albazi has fought. And I'm going Kai Kara-France via decision. I almost picked Kai Kara-France via finish, but I think Amir Albazi is going to have enough threat with the grappling that I just don't think Kai Kara-France is going to go wild like he did against a guy like Cody Garbrandt with no chin. And I just think Kai Kara-France has great striking. He has good power for flyweight. He has a good jab, a good right hand that has nasty power. He has good kicks. He has a good fight IQ. He's very good with his jiu-jitsu and his anti-jiu-jitsu, and he has great takedown defense. We saw Askar Askarov get his back early in the first round of their fight. He was able to fend off the rear naked choke. And then after that, after it went to the next round, even though he wasn't able to get out of the, back mount, he was able to defend the takedowns. And I don't think Amir Albazi has these elite level entries. He enters kind of sloppy. We've seen Costa stuff a couple of those takedowns. We've seen Figueiredo stuff a couple of those takedowns. He eventually got a takedown and finished Figueiredo via rear naked choke. But I just don't think, even if he gets Kara-France down, I don't think he's going to be able to submit him. Because Kara-France, you know, in the last fight he got submitted against Brandon Royval, that was a crazy fight where he got hurt multiple times, avoids the submission, and then on the feet he gets hurt, shoots in on a sloppy takedown, gets guillotined. I just don't think that's going to happen against Amir Albazi. Amir Albazi has very good striking, has very good power. KO'd the last guy he fought, but I just don't think the level of opposition that he's fought, I just don't think it comes anywhere close to Kara-France or the level that he's fought. And Kara-France, Brandon Moreno is the champion. He looked very good against Brandon Moreno and was even coming on strong towards the end of the fight right before he got finished. Got caught with a perfectly placed body kick. And I just don't think in this fight Amir Albazi has the level of striking to give Kara-France enough problems where he's able to shoot takedowns, get the top control. I think if he does get Kara-France down, I think he may be able to control him, win rounds that way. But I think Amir Albazi's not going to find the submission. I think he's going to have to win via decision. And I just think Kara-France, because he's going to be more measured on the feet, pumping the jab, throwing the right hand, and worried a little bit about the takedown, I don't see Kara-France getting the finish. But who knows? It's a 5-round fight. And I'm actually glad this fight is 5 rounds because this has title implications. Both guys are ranked in the top 10 of the division. And I just don't think either one of these guys is going to be able to find the finish. And I think Kara-France, even if he gets taken down, his jiu-jitsu submission defense is really good. And I think he has far better striking. And I think he has great pressure. And Amir Albazi is very good when he's pressuring. But when he gets backed up, he was getting backed up by Alessandro Costa and eating some shots. And that guy's making his UFC debut. And now he's fighting Kara-France, who's just coming off a title fight. I just think that's night and day. I think Kara-France is going to outstrike him in this fight. Throw some good leg kicks, good calf kicks. I think he's going to be pumping the jab, throwing the right hand. Maybe he finds a finish later in the fight once he starts to get the timing and starts to be very confident in stuffing the takedowns. But I think Kara-France just outstrikes him to a decision. I think maybe Amir Albazi gets 1 or 2 rounds. Maybe he gets a takedown. It's close on the feet. He gets a takedown, controls him for a little bit, wins that round. But I think Kara-France is going to show that he is clearly the better fighter in this fight, using his striking, landing on Amir Albazi, and I think he's going to show that there's levels to this. So there's my full card predictions. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Who are you picking in the main event, Kara-France or Amir Albazi? Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to let me know. Do you want me to do more of these full card prediction videos? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.